Another payout missed again. Far stressful. But anyways, guys, in this video, I'm gonna be explaining to you guys why I couldn't request a payout with Equity Edge, and how should you decide to go for a Pro Edge account, you don't go through the same thing I went through as well. So this video is gonna be very informative. I want you guys to pay attention on how literally small things can literally not get us paid out. But without any further waste of time, let's get to it. So guys, as you can see right here, this is the Equity Edge website. I'm also going to log into my account so that you guys can see what actually is going on. So with Equity Edge, if we go on the FAQ with the Pro Edge account, there's things to follow. For an example, let's start over here and go to challenges and choose Pro Edge. So for an example, I'm on a 100K Pro Edge account, and as you can see, trading period is unlimited. Minimum trading days, it's 7 days. Basically, it's minimum profitable days. And then it is a daily loss of 3%. It is maximum loss of 5%. It is a consistency rule of 15%. And there's no profit target. And then max risk per trade is 1%. Safety cushion is 3%. What does this mean, guys? So one thing that literally caught me on this, here was the consistency rule, because I couldn't understand what broader it meant. I thought maybe when they say the consistency rule is 15%, I thought they just literally want me to like execute trade every day. That shows that I'm actually active on the account. It is actually vice versa. So I'm going to explain to you guys so that you guys don't actually go through what I went through. So a Pro Edge account, guys, just know each trade you take, it shouldn't be more than 1% risk. So I breached actually about 2 accounts of Pro Edge, because in as far as the daily loss is 3%, but you can only lose 1% per trade that you take. You can't lose more than 3% on one trade. You're going to breach the account. So I became smart about that. And then the safety cushion is basically the profit cap that you could actually use. So let's actually get into the FAQ so that you guys can see. So you could see we're just going to strictly jump this, all of this for the 1-step and 2-step, but we're going to jump straight to the Pro Edge account, which is actually this one. And we want to understand what the consistency rule means. So the consistency rule, guys, let's start with just the smaller parts. Let's say 1 risk per trade. You see, to safeguard your account, 1% risk limited applies to your open trades to ensure that your P&L floating loss does not fall below 1% or initially the initial funded account, the initial account balance. Take note: any profit on open trades will not offset any losses from your open trades. Your biggest loss cannot exceed 1% of the initial account balance. Breaching this rule will result to immediate termination of the account. So when I reached out to understand this, it actually means that you should not risk 1% per trade, because if you lose 1% on each trade, you actually have breached an account. You are an over risker. And then I started now toning down my risk as well, of which, as I have 100K, I only risk it about 0.80%. Then I look for the next trade, so forth and so forth and so forth. So yeah, and then now we going to let's check minimum profit target and payout. So minimum, in order to qualify for a payout, you need to have profits of at least 125 on top of the 3% buffer. While still complying with the performance and consistency rule, payout requests can be made via Equity Edge dashboard. And the payout is bi-weekly. Profit split is 90% profit split. Traders can request the payout every 14 days of the calendar following initiation of the first trade of the Pro Edge account. A profit split of 90% will be applied to the earned profits. If you miss the 14 days calendar, you will need to wait another 14 days of the calendar. So I think this one is pretty much clear. So with the one that actually a lot of people struggle with most of the time, it has to be the consistency rule. So guys, the consistency rule, it says to request a payout, traders must meet a consistency score of 15%. This means the largest winning day cannot exceed 15% of the total net profit generated on the account, or if a payout already been requested then since the last payout. So now let's look at this example. The example says if the total net profit generated on the account since you started trading on it is $5,000, then your biggest winning day should not be greater than 750, which is 5,000 times 15%. That's probably 750. Similar to the total net profit generated since your last payout is 5,000, then your biggest winning day should not be greater than 750. So when I reached out, this is kind of like a big, it's not really dwelled in depth, but when I researched about it, it actually means that, so let's say in the whole 7 consistency days, you can, or maybe in just generally, it is basically a choice for you guys to set a bar for yourself. For an example, if you make $500 today, and then maybe you decide to not make anything more than $500 the next coming days, you are respecting the consistency rule, because now you are not making anything above the biggest profit you have made, of which on my side, the bigger trade I took, the biggest profit was $1,900. So I kept on trading because I couldn't understand. I kept on trading, and on the day of the payout, my consistency rule was now on 49%, and I tried requesting a payout, it couldn't allow me. I reached out to ask, and then they told me that the consistency rule didn't allow me. So as the consistency rule didn't allow me, I'm not eligible for a payout until I trade and the consistency rule becomes down. I asked them, okay, how do I make my consistency rule become bigger? Is it making bigger profits? Is it making what? They said, what was your biggest winning trade? I said it's $1,900. And then they said, you cannot make more than $1,000 in one trade, or in a trade, or in floating, or whatever, in a day. So any day I'm now closing, I have to at least close at about, I need to close at least below that. I need to close like your $1,500, $1,000, anything, as long as it's above 0.50% of the initial account. I'm not sure if I'm making sense, but to break it down is, guys, in your if it's a decision you have to take. So let's say you make your first profit. Remember, you have 7 minimum consistency profitable days that you need to do. You have to have. So you need to be profitable for 7 days in order for the 7 days profitable days to count and pass. And then in between this, you can choose to respect it within it or without it. So let's say the first profit was $500, the second profit was $750, the other profit was $1,000. Now your biggest profit is $1,000. Maybe from then you can decide that, okay, I don't want to make more than $1,000, because once you make another above $1,000, you are setting a new record, and your consistency rule now increases. So instead, you can choose to make anything 50% a day, in order just to keep the consistency going down. So we're gonna be going to my dashboard right now, guys, so that you can actually see what I'm actually talking about here. All right, guys, so as you can see, the first trade was this, second, third, fourth, fifth. So if you look at this, my biggest profit so far, it's 1,992. And then we have this, we have that, we have this, we have that. And then we're gonna go to number 2. And then you can see we have this, we have that, we have this, we have that, we have this, we have that. So whenever I trade, I need to make sure that my profit doesn't exceed my biggest win. So far, my biggest win is almost, it's $8 away from 2,000 Rand, $2,000. So now you see the one I closed today is actually 1,915. So I'm trying to maintain the consistency rule, and the more I try to maintain it, my consistency decreases. Guys, I'm literally from 49%. I'm from 49%. So the more I take it slow and steady, I just continuously decrease the chances of me getting a payout from my Pro Edge account. And as you can see, the next payout date will be on the 11th of March. So after understanding that, if you look at it, let's go back to my trading history. So if you look at it, since I understood that from this, look what I just closed. I just closed this, I just closed that, I just closed it. Like I just manually closed maybe 0.5% a day at least. I took a loss here. I closed 800, I took a loss. I took $1,000. I took 100, I lost 9, I made 1.5, I made 1.9. So I try to make sure that I do not exceed my biggest profitable day, because now it delayed me. So whenever, guys, you're going for a Pro Edge account, I need you to understand that the consistency could trap you. Set a target. Let's say maybe you have your biggest winning trade was $1,000. From that, it doesn't matter, guys. You can set it as far as you want. This is just me advising you on what I went through. The reason why I wasn't paid out with Equity Edge is because of the consistency rule. I never reached it. I had a bigger consistency rule. So if you have now 1,200 and you feel like that was the biggest profitable day for you, make sure that you close $500 a day, or maybe you can close anything, not as long as it's not above the $1,200 profit, because once it's above, you have set a new record of the new consistency rule you have to follow. So now, instead of you need to make now lesser than 1,500, or you need to now make lesser than $5,000 every time, all the time. It is not worth it. I promise you, it's not. Have a target that if your biggest winning trade was maybe $2,000, just make sure a day you close $500 or $1,000, but continuously it increases and makes you feel better and makes you better. So guys, yeah, that's just that from my side. The Pro Edge, it was actually respected, and that was it. So I hope the consistency rule makes sense. And bear in mind, it counts per day. So if in a day you can't close anything more than the amount you have made in a day, it's not within 10 days, it's within a day. So in a day you can close as maybe your $1,000. It counts daily, doesn't count on the amount of trade you take every day. So I hope the consistency rule is clear for everybody. Join my Telegram group on the link. I'm giving away $10,000 account challenge accounts on Sunday. You could be lucky winner. I'm gonna be doing that for the next every week. I'm gonna be giving away 10K accounts to probable winners. So I love you guys. Stay safe.